This is the $400 million Whittenhurst Mansion, the largest residence in London after Buckingham Palace, but its owner remains a mystery. A few minutes south is Kensington, where this $100 million mansion can be found, its owner also shrouded in secrecy. There are hundreds of mysterious properties like these, hidden in the wealthiest parts of London. But a few of them have been revealed, all sharing one thing in common. They are all owned by billionaire Russian oligarchs. These oligarchs started as regular businessmen, but had accumulated extreme wealth after taking over industrial business that was left abandoned after the collapse of the Soviet Union. This put all of Russia's economy into the hands of just a few people, turning them into multi-billionaires almost immediately, and giving them the new title of oligarch. Most of this wealth came from the Russian government awarding inflated contracts to these privately owned businesses. For example, a construction company that had fallen into the hands of an oligarch may be contracted to build something like a railway for 2 to 3 times what it would typically cost. Half of the budget would then go missing, and a new yacht would appear off the coast of England. Britain, and London, England specifically, attracts these oligarchs because of how easy it is to hide money in the region. These oligarchs had accumulated massive wealth in Russia, but it was largely tied to corrupted officials who helped them obtain it, giving the officials some form of control over the money. There was also unrest within the public toward oligarchs, which could eventually destabilize the economy. There also just isn't much to buy in Russia for a billionaire. London, on the other hand, has everything. Having the most expensive things imaginable like penthouses, yachts, and even sports teams, London was a great place to store lots of cash, and more importantly, conceal it.
Hudson and Voyage 3! They are tearing up Juventus!
Years before oligarchs fell into their money, Britain went through a transformation in banking in an effort to boost its economy, where British banks were given the power to conduct unregulated business with foreign clients using foreign currencies. This trading of foreign currency in Britain created loopholes where banks were not regulated by either jurisdiction, creating more freedom in moving, storing, and concealing money. Britain's several offshore territories took the fullest advantage of this, realizing they can make a lot of money specializing in providing offshore financial services. If you were a billionaire oligarch and wanted to buy this $20 million penthouse in central London as a way to move your money out of Russia, it would look something like this. You would hire a network of accountants, tax experts, and lawyers to manage the money. They will move it from a Russian bank account to offshore accounts in various European countries, including places like Switzerland, Latvia, and Malta. Now that the money is broken up and out of Russia, it's then transferred to additional offshore banks in the British overseas territories, including places like the British Virgin Islands, Gibraltar, and the Cayman Islands. For each account the money touches in these territories, dozens of shell companies are created to conceal the wealth. Shell companies are created just like any other company, but they don't actually do anything. However, they can be used to register a bank account. This is an extremely slow process in most countries, but in Britain, it takes minutes at a cost of just $12, and companies are rarely questioned further. The shell company can be owned by a trust, a legal contract further concealing the source of the money, as the owner of the trust won't be public, and it also prevents information about the shell company from going public, making it even more difficult to trace back to the origin. Now you can buy the property through the trust-owned shell company that is tied to dozens of other foreign shell companies and remain completely anonymous. Some buy tech companies, others buy sports teams, and most of them buy extremely expensive property. In central London alone, anonymous offshore companies own 10% of all property, worth around $122 billion. This is Belgrave Square, one of London's wealthiest streets, and is home to several oligarchs. Oligarchs have spent so much money on this street that it's nicknamed the Red Square. Properties here go for $20 to $50 million, and one of the most expensive is this mansion owned by a Russian billionaire aluminum magnate. Another oligarch, this one a steel magnate, integrated his money in London by purchasing the Chelsea Football Club for $250 million in 2003. He also has a $90 million home in Kensington Palace Gardens, another hotspot for oligarchs in London. There are so many oligarchs like this that real estate agents, tax advisors, bankers, and lawyers, all specializing in concealing Russian money, are estimated to earn a collective $350 million a year servicing their oligarch clients. Although England has the financial systems to make hiding wealth easy, there are other countries that have similar systems, but there is something else that makes England special. England once offered something called an investor visa, nicknamed Golden Visa because it allowed rich people to buy their citizenship in the country. The more these people would invest, the quicker they would receive citizenship. The minimum $2 million investment would grant them citizenship in 5 years, whereas a $10 million investment would shorten the wait to just 2 years. Over 700 Russians were found to have used this program to gain citizenship, bringing in billions to the country on top of the houses and other items they bought. There are likely hundreds of oligarchs that have integrated their money into London that are still in secrecy. They may even be hiding in plain sight, as iceberg homes have become popular in London, where the basement of an unsuspecting surface home is modified to be larger than the house sitting on top of it. People passing by would never know about the second mansion beneath them. Oligarchs have clearly made a presence in London and England as a whole, with the tens of billions they have poured into the city and country. And Britain, including its overseas territories, has enjoyed the benefits of hosting them. This has weakened over the last few years, however, as a result of sanctions on certain oligarchs and the Golden Visa program coming to an end. But Britain continues to provide the ideal environment for concealing wealth.